Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and this is Taking Care of Business. Joining me today is Eytan Broder, who is CEO of the Alberta Boot Company. Thanks for joining us today, Eytan.
Thanks so much for having me, Mario.
Well, I find it interesting that, in these challenging times that we faced for many companies, especially the retail sectors for the last 2 years, the Alberta Boot Company is actually growing, and you've opened 2 new retail outlets in the recent past, I guess, in Lake Louise and Banff. Can you talk a little bit about those openings and why you're expanding during a pandemic?
Sure. I'd be happy to. And many people may ask why, but we're actually quite bullish on the retail environment at the moment. We really believe that consumers today are looking for that that authentic experience, that products and services that are well made, that are honest, that are community based and really tied to their values. And Alberta Boot sort of represents all of that. It's an honest consumer experience, and we think it's something that we want to bring to a broader market. Again, we are a 43-year-old company manufacturing boots right here in Calgary, and we're doing it the old-fashioned way. Really, we're using Goodyear welt construction, all natural leathers, corking and hand cutting, and this is all done by local people right here, as I said, in Calgary. So we really have sort of that pride of make and craftsmanship, and sort of convey that Western spirit. And we want to bring that to the world. So,
I'm just curious. You talked about the local part of this business, its roots. Do you think consumers more and more these days are looking for that, are looking for that experience on a local level and want to support local businesses?
Yeah, I think they do, Mario, and it goes beyond just supporting local businesses. We really feel that there's a trend away from sort of that disposable fast fashion or fast consumption, and that idea that you know who's making your product and that it's authentically and honestly made is a very important concept for retail going forward. So in those stores that you mentioned, we're very proud to partner up with the Fairmont hotels in the Banff Springs and the Chateau Lake Louise. And consumers, guests can go into those shops and really experience the brand. So beyond just looking at a boot on a shelf, it's also more about looking at the videos and seeing how they're made, getting to touch and feel the leather and the lasts, the molds that we use for making the boots. So It's really more about sort of an entire experience as opposed to just sort of buying some footwear.
Oh, okay. And that's an interesting point because, in the past 2 years, all the talk has been about e-commerce and online shopping, et cetera, but certain businesses, and I think you're one of them, right? You want that experience of being there and feeling the boot and trying it on, right?
We certainly do. We love that. We do understand, and we're not rejecting sort of this omni-channel virtual world at all. We're actually participating in that as well. We've just launched, or we're about to launch, I should say, a brand new e-commerce site, which will also enable you to customize a boot and buy a boot. We're playing with new technology to actually virtually try on. So we believe that we can sort of meld sort of those old world values that we're very proud of, our Western sort of spirit and our Western roots, and that authenticity that I talk about. Yeah. And we want to meld that with sort of some of the new technology and modern practices and concepts that are out there. And we feel that's a really nice spot for our business and our brand going forward.
So how many stores do you have now, physical locations?
So we have 3 locations, including our main shop here in Calgary. And we plan on expanding further this year. We will be adding shops here in the Calgary area, beyond our factory location, which has its retail shop adjacent to it. I also mentioned the e-com platform, which we're about to relaunch. And we are going to be looking aggressively beyond traditional retail. So we have some very aggressive plans to grow the business on an omni-channel basis, including pop-up shops and mobile retail.
And sorry, where is the location in Calgary?
The location in Calgary is on 50th Avenue Southeast. We're just east of McLeod Trail.
Okay, I seem to recall, I think there used to be the big sign or something off of McLeod Trail that you could see it, right?
Yeah, we're just tucked in a couple of blocks east of McLeod. I think our sign is probably quite visible from McLeod, but it's just off the main drag.
Oh, okay, then, and let's go. Let's talk a bit about Lake Louise and Banff. Like, I'm just curious of why there. Like, why did you decide to expand into retail outlets in those markets?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Thank you. We really believe that we have a really compelling story to tell with this brand. It's a really interesting story, as we just mentioned, about 40 plus years of manufacturing here. And we really sort of embody and represent that Western spirit. It's a local company, founded locally, owned locally. And we just felt that it's a really great platform in the mountains in Lake Louise and Banff to really bring that story to the world. We know we have a huge global audience that arrives at those hotels, and we really thought that this is a showcase for our brand to really tell sort of the Western prairie story. Boot making, obviously Western and cowboy boots are one of our mainstays. And we thought this is the time and the place to take that story to a much broader audience.
Very cool. So when you talk about cowboy boots, what has been the impact on your business for the past couple of years because of the Stampede? Obviously, we've gone through a couple of situations where the Stampede wasn't in effect at all. Then we had a toned down version of the Stampede last year. What's been the impact for you guys?
Well, certainly the Stampede historically was a very, very important part of this business. And one of the things that we've been doing over the past year as part of our sort of brand renewal program is to really expand our business beyond just sort of the traditional cowboy boot market, and to really capture a new customer by bringing still some of that Western feeling and styles, but really update them to captivate another audience that perhaps is more urban, and perhaps a market that wants sort of modern touches with the Western styles that we offer. So a good example of that, we've just recently launched a new roper style boot, which has a all-weather outsole, and it's appropriate going downtown in a suit as much as it is going, working on your ranch. Yeah. So those are the type of things that we're trying to introduce, a little bit more versatile, as opposed to just sort of your classic cowboy attire.
And everything is made in Calgary?
Everything is made in Calgary, absolutely everything, including we've recently launched leather slippers that are made of remnants, and we're repurposing some of our waste. We've launched small leather goods like luggage tags and wallets and so on, and everything is made actually right behind me in our production facility.
Oh, excellent. All right, super. Well, thanks, Eytan, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, super. That was Eytan Broder, who is, or Broder, sorry, thinking hockey there. Eytan Broder, who is CEO of the Alberta Boot Company. I'm Mario Toneguzzi. This has been Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.